and your delegation to Finland. This is your first visit to my country in your role as a Prime Minister. I heard you have visited once in Oulu before. Finland is of Ukraine's strongest supporters in Europe. Since February 2022, our total support to Ukraine amounts to 3.2 billion euros. This includes 25 packages of defense material. Our comprehensive support, defense, material, development, humanitarian, it continues. Russian full-scale war against Ukraine has lasted for over 2 years. It has caused enormous destruction and human suffering. Russia's ruthless attacks on civilian targets continue. Dear representatives of the media, you know that we Finns are people of action. Therefore, it is a great pleasure for me to announce that our meeting has very concrete outcomes. For the first, we Finns know that what a proper winter is. We have recently announced a €4 million allocation to UNHCR's operation in Ukraine. The objective is to help people prepare for harsh winter conditions. More support for winter preparedness is under preparation. I was happy to tell Prime Minister Šmihal that we will be able to send 11 assistance packages for winter in the upcoming months. This will include generators, transformers, oil burners, oil heating containers, lightning cables, relays and working machines. I would like to use this opportunity to express my warmest thanks to the Finnish private sector for the donations and continuous support to Ukraine. For second, Ukraine and Ukrainians need civil defense shelters. Finland has been sharing its experience in this field with Ukraine for some time now. It was a pleasure to tell my colleague that Finland is prepared to do more with Ukraine in this field. We will support Ukraine's authorities in developing their civil defense shelters. We will also work together in order to gather international support for this important field. And I hope we can call this coalition in near future. And for the third, right before this press conference, our Ministers of Health, Minister Kaisa Juuso and Minister Viktor Liaško, signed a technical agreement between the health ministries of Finland and Ukraine. We welcome the cooperation and all the concrete actions that will support the implementation of the agreement and strengthen the cooperation in the health sector. Mr. Prime Minister, I arrived this morning from Brussels, where President Zelensky presented his victory plan to the European Council. Your visit is not only a bilateral visit. It is also connected to the implementation of Ukraine's peace formula. Tomorrow we, Finland and Ukraine, will be hosting a thematic conference on environmental security, point 8 of Ukraine's peace formula. I thank you for your trust and your offer to host tomorrow's conference. We are co-chairs of this thematic working group together with Germany and Bulgaria. Our active role builds on our long-term cooperation with Ukraine in this field. My colleague and I will open the conference, and our ministers for the environment will co-chair it. It is an honor to host the conference. We expect a wide online attendance. Mr. Prime Minister, Denis, thank you once again, and now I give the floor to you, please.
Thank you. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, dear Pettері, dear colleagues, journalists. First of all, I would like to personally thank to Prime Minister Pettері Orpо for his unwavering support to my country, to Ukraine, and and for his commitment to working towards restoring peace and security in Europe. Thank you so much, Mr. Prime Minister. Finland is a true friend of Ukraine. You came to help us in the very first hours of the Russian invasion, and we are deeply grateful for that. Finland is also one of our key partners in the Northern European region and in Europe as a whole. Since the beginning of the full-scale war, Finland's assistance to Ukraine has amounted to 3.2 billion euros, as mentioned, Mr. Prime Minister. We are deeply thankful and grateful for this. The key issue on the agenda of our cooperation today is, of course, security and defense. Over the past 2.5 years, Finland has made the decision to provide 25 military packages to Ukraine with a total defense support 2.3 billion euros. We are really grateful to Finland for its participation in 4 support coalitions for Ukraine: the Tank Coalition, the Artillery Coalition, the IT Coalition, and the Demining Coalition. So now we have agreed with Mr. Prime Minister about creation of the another one coalition, so Shelters Coalition, where we propose and we are waiting that Finland will be chairing in this coalition because of your great experience in this sphere, and it will be 5th coalition, so we are really grateful for this great contribution. I also want to personally thank the Prime Minister and the entire leadership of the Republic of Finland for not imposing restrictions on Ukraine's use of Finnish weaponry and for encouraging other partners to lift similar restrictions. Today, the Prime Minister and I discussed urgent steps to strengthening the armed forces of Ukraine and to implement the security cooperation agreement signed by the President of Ukraine and Finland in Kyiv in April of this year. We are confident that Finland will continue to support Ukraine on our path to NATO membership. An official invitation for Ukraine to join the alliance is the first point of the Ukraine's victory plan presented by President Volodymyr Zelensky this week. Together with Finland, Ukraine will play a key role in protecting the eastern borders of the EU and NATO after this war. And we discussed this with Mr. Prime Minister and our teams. This will provide security for all the Europe. At the same time, we are grateful to Finland for its firm stance in supporting Ukraine's peace formula. We appreciate the concrete steps taken in this direction. Finland is a co-chair of the group of countries assisting in the implementation of the 8th point of the peace formula, environmental security. Russia's aggression has already caused over 64 billion in environmental damage to Ukraine, and we will do everything possible to hold aggressor accountable for its ecocide. The conference on the discussion of point 8 of the peace formula, co-organized by the Finnish government, is a step toward justice, and we are grateful for this, for such a short period organization, this great event, which will be, I'm sure, historical. Another important issue on the agenda of our relations with Finland is sanctions against the aggressor. We must cut off Russia from the resources and technology needed to wage war against Ukraine. It is crucially important to cut off Russia's access to dual-use technologies and to block the shadow fleet of oil tankers, which poses an environmental threat to all Baltic Sea countries. We are grateful to the Finnish government for conducting over 740 customs investigations into possible sanctions violations. This demonstrates a very effective and the only correct approach, because sanctions only work when they cannot be avoided. I also want to personally thank the Prime Minister and the entire Finnish government for supporting our aspirations to join the EU as soon as possible. We look forward to Finland's consultative assistance in implementing all the necessary reforms on this path. Today, we also discuss the issue of Ukraine's reconstruction. Finland is one of our key partners in this area. the Finnish government has already prepared a comprehensive plan for its participation in Ukraine's reconstruction and has adopted the first part of it. We expect the second part to be approved this year. We also propose signing an agreement between our governments on technical and financial cooperation, which will simplify the implementation of Finnish assistance projects in Ukraine reconstruction. So actually it's my public proposition to Mr. Prime Minister and to the government to go into ahead with our cooperation. The total cost of Ukraine's recovery now stands at $486 billion. This is an enormous sum, and our strong position is that the primary source for these funds should be frozen Russian assets. Therefore, I am grateful to Finland for its active role in directing frozen Russian assets toward Ukraine's defense and reconstruction. One of the key elements of our last recovery program is President Zelensky's initiative on cooperation between Ukrainian regions and regions of partner countries. 18 cities in Ukraine and Finland have already established twinning agreements, and it is important to continue this cooperation. This will improve the quality and speed of implementing infrastructure projects that benefit our communities. Cooperation between Ukraine and Finland in the energy sector is also important for us. Finland is a key partner in this direction and actively helping us overcome the consequences of Russian energy terror. Ukraine has received 200 transformers, 500 generators of various types, 8,000 units of related energy equipment. Finland has also allocated 5 million, as mentioned Prime Minister, improve for the energy efficiency of schools, kindergartens, hospitals, and all the buildings of social sphere. During the negotiations with Mr. Prime Minister Orpo, we focused on Ukraine's new critical needs in the energy sector, and we are grateful for this absolutely unwavering support. Regarding rapid recovery, we also hope for a separate project and Finnish support in developing a civil protection system generally and including this coalition of shelters. Finland has unique knowledge and experience in this area, the best one, so it is important for us to have such a partner. This would save thousands of civilian lives there in Ukraine. We would be grateful for your support in this initiative as we have agreed. Thank you so much for this. As part of the international coalition for the return of Ukrainian children, we must continue to apply pressure on Russia. Finland is a member of this coalition and we need to fully unite our efforts and do everything possible to bring Ukrainian children back home. Among our cooperation projects, I would also like to highlight the development of education. Just recently, the Finnish government announced a new multi-year program to support Ukraine's education sector, worth 20 million. We are grateful for this too. We are also continuing coordination in the areas of digitalization and telecommunications. We are eager to launch new projects and are interested in partnership to develop 5G and 6G technologies. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, dear Pettері, in conclusion, I would like to once again thank Finland for its unwavering support at the level of my country in our fight for freedom against Russian aggression. I also want to propose this to Mr. Prime Minister, establishing the practice of annual meetings at the level of the heads of government and consider the format of annual joint consultation between our governments. So actually now our ministers are cooperating as never before actively and very often. Thank you for this. I am confident this will contribute to the development of our bilateral relations. Friends, we are sincerely grateful for everything Finland is doing for our country and for the security of the entire continent. I would like to personally thank Prime Minister Pettері Orpо for his support and solidarity. I am confident that together we will build a strong, secure and prosperous Europe. Thank you so much for your attention, for your support, for your help. Thank you. Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister. As we go to the questions, kindly introduce yourself before posing your question, and we start with Helsingin Sanomat.
Thank you. Joona Aaltonen, Helsingin Sanomat. I would like to direct my questions both of the Prime Ministers, and if Prime Minister Orpo could begin, and